Perfect. It's about
It's about time. I got the lighting and the camera angle right. Whew.
I have been trying to record this video for weeks. Okay, weeks. We are here to discuss what it actually means to recreate a garment from 1901 or any time frame that is not right now. Anything that we would consider vintage. What is it like to recreate those garments and to actually wear the pieces from that time frame, not just, recreate something like it or try to create an inspired look from this piece, but to actually wear the piece in real life, be out and about, take pictures, operate your daily operations, all the things. With the project we're going to be discussing today, we're really going to hone in on observation, craft, and a love for history. This project is not about cosplaying, it's more so about recreating a moment in time and just feeling great in it. If you're new here, my name is and this channel is a part of Thread and Theory, which is a creative house where I explore creative traditions, historical garments, and the stories that live inside our projects. The project we're discussing today is my 1901 historical dress project. I selected this dress out of Patterns of Fashion 2, specifically because I enjoyed the way that it looked and it really spoke to what I think of when I think of the Edwardian time frame. You know, women going out in their all white lace dresses and just frolicking around. So I kind of wanted to create something like that for myself that I can wear in the springtime also. Today's video isn't going to be showing me doing any types of tutorials or anything like that, but it's more so going to just be a review and an introduction to the project that I'm about to work on, okay? So let's jump into it. I remember back during the pandemic, I was on YouTube a lot more than I'm usually on YouTube, and I ran across the historical sewing community. I ran across them because I am a seamstress anyway. I've been sewing for a long time and I crochet as well. So this has always been right up my alley. And then I was introduced to Bernadette Banner. And then once I clicked on her page, then of course the algorithm did its thing and I was introduced to everybody, all the big channels in that community. And I really just fell in love with the process of the making, doing all of the research, which is a huge part of the process for me, like my favorite part, doing all the research to find examples, sewing methods, looking up different sewing manuals. I have a huge collection of sewing manuals on the Internet Archive website, and that's what I've been looking into for the past couple of years, just trying to hone in on exactly how I'm going to tackle this project. A little bit of it was procrastination, but we are over that now and we're going to get started. So far on this project, I've worked on the corset, I've worked on the bloomers, and I've also worked on the chemise. I am considering making a pair of combinations simply because it is 1901. So I want to kind of make a pair of combinations just to, because it is the turn of the century. We are officially in the Edwardian time frame by 1901. So I kind of just want to really be as accurate as possible. Now, would a woman from 1901 possibly have a pair of bloomers? Absolutely. But the more prominent undergarment that you typically see for this time frame when people are making costumes is a pair of combinations. So I'm just trying to think about that. My favorite part of the chemise that I made already is that I crocheted all of the lace on the chemise and I stitched it in there by hand as well. So it was really pretty, very intricate, and I thought it was a really nice detail because I love to crochet. So, and I also love crocheting doilies and things like that. So of course that was just a little way to put like a little special touch on there. I am using truly Victorian patterns for the undergarments. My corset is a truly Victorian pattern, and both of the undergarment pieces are truly Victorian patterns as well. Super simple to put together, very easy instructions, and they also have Facebook community groups that you can check into if you are having a problem. You can discuss the pattern or the problem that you're having with the pattern, so that's always a win-win. It's really important to me to make all of the layers of the outfit, to make all of the foundational layers. I could just go in and make the outfit, make the top and make the bottom, but once you put it on, it's not going to look correct. The silhouette is not going to be the same without the foundational garments. So I've already, like I said, gotten the corset, the drawers or bloomers finished, and also got the chemise done. So now I still need to make the underskirt, the overskirt, which is going to be made out of the fashion fabric, and also the top. It's going to be a really interesting process because in Patterns of Fashion 2, there is a scale that you have to work with. So I've been working through trying to figure out how to get the scale correct. I've been playing around with the thought of using a projector and blowing it up to scale and then drawing the pattern that way. But I just have to figure that out basically. So why 1901 specifically? 1901 is right at the turn of the century. It's the time where you really see the country coming out of an old way and into a newer way of thinking. There were many movements happening at that time. There is the New Negro movement, which is something that I've been researching and I'll have later videos on, and also Substack write-ups on. So make sure you check out my Substack. Make sure you check out my Substack. Okay, thanks. So there's that movement going on. Also, there's a lot going on with Puerto Rico at that time. Both of those cultures I am deeply connected to. And for me, if I was a woman that lived back then, I'm always researching those time frames. It's like actually one of my favorite times in the country. I would want to wear something that is fly, okay? Something that is flawless, something that really shows that I have pride in myself. So I like that time frame. I also think that that was a really good time for feminine silhouettes because it was still very structured in the waist and very much so snatched. However, it wasn't as voluminous as the Victorian period. Certain time frames or certain aesthetic periods within the Victorian era. Okay, so how exactly am I going to build this? So far this entire video, I've been talking about this book right here, which is Patterns of Fashion. This is by Janet Arnold, and it is produced, printed, reprinted, however they call it. The School of Historical Dress owns the copyright to this book now. Before the School of Historical Dress got a hold of the copyright to this book, I was looking for one. And when I tell you it was like $800 on eBay, and I was like, oh no. So when they produced this, I hopped right on it. Let me go ahead and show you roughly. Let me just go through this book real quick so I can show you what's in here. First of all, of course, you have different reference pages. Okay, different reference pages. And I'll also give better close-ups of this as well. You have different reference pages in here. You have information on pattern cutting and dressmaking history, references to different books that you can look at. There's old advertisements in here. All sorts of stuff in this beginning part. I think the most beneficial is that there is a big page here on historical sewing methods, which I think is really important. There's also a conversion chart for the scale inside the book. And then after that, you start getting to pictures of the actual garment. You start getting to pictures of the garments that are actually in the book. I absolutely love this. I think that Civil War era clothing and before, like pre-Civil War era, is like so luxurious, okay? So luxurious. Look at the patterns on there, okay? Military inspired, very structured. It's absolutely stunning. I'm going to quickly show you the dress that I'm working on. And so I'm trying to get to 1901 here. All right, here we go. This is the outfit that I'm working on. Look at that skirt, okay? Look at that skirt. Look at the top. I love this top because I can see myself wearing this with a regular bottom. Look at the sleeves, okay? So this is the book that I'm going to be using. I'm going to show you how the pattern looks. And this is what I was talking about. Do you see all the pattern pieces are there? All of the pattern pieces are there. However, you have to, oh, this is a close-up of what it looks like. This is just a drawing of what it looks like. So hopefully you can see what I mean by the scale and how I would have to figure out how I'm going to create the pattern pieces, because there's going to be a lot of piecing together for the pieces, because this skirt piece is humongous. Okay, the skirt piece is humongous. So that also means that I have to make sure the length or width of fabric that I get is wide enough to accommodate as well. And I've been looking at fabric selections and fabric suppliers to see what type of fabric I can get that's going to be the width that I need. But if not, I do know how to piece fabric together per the pattern that we're using. So we'll be fine there. But I'm really excited for this project because I really just want to take pictures in the project. I want to make this a thing where I'm talking about the projects and documenting the research and documenting the thought processes behind everything. And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool to just make something with your hands. For me, this project is really all about the love of research and the love of constructing something and really being able to say, I made this, and everybody is just in awe that you did what you did. That's really all it is for me, because I love making things just to get to the final, like the toil and tarrying and the labor to produce this final piece of art that's going to be here for forever and can be passed down. Okay, that's the goal, is to really use techniques that are sound and true techniques that are going to deliver the best quality garment that I possibly could get. And in turn, I'm learning these things so that I can apply them to my own work for other clients, because I think that these techniques are the best techniques to use. Historical sewing techniques are always going to produce the highest quality garments. Look how long those garments have been around. We still have garments from medieval times to study because of the construction and the preservation of the item. So I just want to craft something of that type of quality. I do like making heirloom pieces. I do find that building my business in this way by sharing my projects is going to actually get me the type of client that I want, because they understand the passion that I put into all of my projects. I am so over doing onesie twosie projects and bulk making items and looking, trying to get into that mindset of going to markets and farmers markets and things like that. When you have a business that lends to that and you can create multiple things at one time easily, or it's not as time consuming what you're trying to produce, those are perfect. But for what I'm trying to do, where things take a long time, there's a lot of intention, there's a lot behind the process. I think sharing what I'm doing is going to open my work up to a different audience that appreciates the work that I do and the passion that I have for the project. And they are more inclined to pay what I'm worth or they value that. So they are not opposed to paying for that. So anyway, yeah, it's just time for growth. And it's time for me to really put my all into the projects that I want to do instead of putting things on the back burner. So that's why I'm really making an effort to make sure that I get this project done. And this introduction video is just the first of a few more videos that I have planned on this particular project. So I'm going to tell you what you can expect in the next few videos, as a matter of fact. So we're going to talk about the pattern and also the scaling of the pattern and how to get the proportions correct in the next video. And we're also going to talk about fabric and materials and the mock-up and fitting process. So the next video is really going to be all about process, which is my favorite part. I love organizing the process and checking off the boxes of the process. That's my favorite part. And then, of course, we're going to have the final garment construction, and there's going to be behind the scenes of, all the things that I'm doing there. Hopefully, my goal is to do a nice photo shoot in this and really create some type of editorial that I can use in a publication that I'm making. So there's a lot going on, but it all connects. I promise. I promise you. I want you to follow my YouTube channel. Okay, please follow it. Thanks. Just to sum this up, one of the things that I love the most about studying historical clothing, historical fashion, historical sewing techniques is it really gives you a glimpse into why people did the things that they did, why they wore the clothes that they wore. Once you start getting into the research, you're inevitably going to start learning more about the time frame, because even down to the types of materials they had those materials for a reason, and the methods and techniques that they had, it really tells a lot about their lives. Even when you get down to sewing history or fashion history, you learn a lot about the difference in between classes, in between cultures, based on their clothing, based on their materials, based on their techniques that they use to actually construct items. So it's a way to learn a lot about people, to learn about different cultures around you, and there's a lot that you can apply in your everyday life, I promise you. So this page or this channel, I'm really trying to focus more on that, really about exploration and observing through craft. So yeah, I hope I went into this enough to give you guys a good introduction on this project. I do hope that you follow me. I do have a Substack, Instagram, TikTok, which I'm trying to grow. Um, and I'll be, you'll see me here and there on YouTube Shorts. So I do hope that you like, share, subscribe, all those things. Check out the links, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.